Hey, what's up? This is Chosen, and we have got an important Diablo 4 video to go over today because we just had the developer live stream over on twitch.tv/Diablo, the main channel for them over there, where they talked about Diablo 4 specifically for over an hour. So we know the Season 1 start date and what the special mechanic is going to be for Season 1, plus some other random stuff that is very important to know. So grab something to drink, take a seat. I'm going to walk you through everything you need to know about the Diablo 4 live stream that happened today as we lead into Season 1 and how to prepare effectively. Let's get into it. Alrighty, so first of all, I won't hold you in suspense. As you may be able to see on the screen, Season 1 is going to be starting on Thursday, July 20th. Now, I've been predicting for months that Season 1 would start on Friday, July 21st. So I was one day off and I should have known better. So the reason that I thought it would start on a Friday is because they usually do on Diablo 3. But the reason I should have known is because for the launch of their first season, they're probably going to want a work day after they launch their first season. That way they are in the office and in the studio to hotfix things and manage things to make sure that the building isn't on fire after launching their first ever season in Diablo 4. So it makes perfect sense that they do it on a Thursday instead of, I expected it to be on a Friday. So Thursday, July 20th is going to be Season 1. It's time to prepare accordingly. But I'll get to all of that, and let's talk about the actual live stream itself, and we'll go through in chronological order for what they went over. Now, the actual live stream itself over on Twitch ended up at 115,000 sustained viewers, which seems pretty good. I know some people are getting a little bit down about Diablo 4, but really it's holding on pretty strong. It's not too much of a surprise that after people dive in and they play the game for the first month, now they're going to kind of chill a little bit and wait for Season 1. That's a very common sentiment out there. And we'll talk about all of that here in a little bit, but first let's talk about the actual live stream itself, and we'll go through in chronological order to give you a summary of what happened today. Now, it did end up sustaining at about 115,000 viewers on Twitch, which I think is pretty good. And that's honestly promising because I think we've seen a little bit of a downturn in Diablo 4 the last few weeks, a little bit more of a negative sentiment, a little bit higher percentage of people walking away from the game and taking a break, probably waiting for Season 1 and seeing if Season 1 is going to be hype enough to rope them back into coming back to Diablo 4. A lot of people have kind of seemed to hit a wall recently in the last couple days, but that gives me hope seeing that 115,000. We still have a lot of people that are following Diablo 4 and are very interested in coming back or continuing playing. Now, first up, they ended up spending about 20 minutes talking about Diablo Immortal, and I've got some pictures down here that I saved in the document. They were talking about the Blood Knight right here. Now, I kind of felt bad for them. This is a little bit unfortunate because the Blood Knight is actually super cool. It looks really good. It's got a cool backstory and all of that to it, but you just can't cover Diablo Immortal and things like the Blood Knight during a Diablo 4 live stream. The whole chat was just saying, like, come on, let's move on with it. Let's get to Diablo 4. They should have done two different streams. They should have done a Diablo Immortal developer stream and a Diablo 4 developer stream and done them on like 2 different days and let the different fan bases enjoy their developer stream instead of trying to combine a mobile audience and like a PC and console audience. It just does not go well. And it's the same thing that they did at BlizzCon when they announced Diablo Immortal to a BlizzCon mostly PC audience. It didn't go well. It's not going to go well when they try to ram in Diablo Immortal stuff in here, but it was actually pretty cool. The trailer and the class and the aesthetic and the story behind the class, it was all pretty interesting. It's just not a good idea to announce it during a Diablo 4 discussion. But then when they did get to Diablo 4, about 20 minutes in, the first thing, I kind of went through and just made notes as I was watching to cover for you here in summary. So multiple seasons confirmed. Obviously, we're assuming there's going to be like 20, 30 seasons over the course of Diablo 4's lifespan. Not a big surprise there. Then later in the day, which means today, there's going to be a new patch to hit all platforms, but they said that this one won't be as big as the last patch. Helltide chests will now be able to drop uniques. They'll have a chance to. They won't be guaranteed. And then support through many seasons and expansions in plural. I made note of this because they said expansions in plural. We saw Diablo 2 only get one expansion in the Lord of Destruction, and then we saw Diablo 3 only get one expansion with Reaper of Souls. So the fact that Diablo 4, as of right now, they're saying expansions with an S, plural, that's really good news. We might get 2 expansions that would be epic, and it means Diablo 4 can have a 10-year lifespan. And then at about 35 minutes in, they revealed the seasonal mechanic, which is going to be the Malignant Hearts and Malignant Mobs. It's going to be the season of Malignant. Now, the way this is going to work is it's going to be kind of a socket system where there's going to be 3 different colors where you socket these Malignant hearts that you get from completing these objectives by killing these tougher mobs that end up spawning, and there'll be 1 for each color, so it creates a little bit of RNG in your gear. But there will also be a special type of Malignant hearts. I guess I can scroll down here to the picture of what they look like. So right here, so these Malignant hearts right here, these caged hearts that you get, that's going to be the seasonal mechanic. And you can see this one right here. It says once inserted, it can be replaced but not removed. And this one says critical strikes electrically charge the enemy for 2.89 seconds, causing lightning arc between them and any other charged enemies for 64 lightning damage. So you'd have a bunch of like sparks flying everywhere and doing a bunch of AoE spread damage with that caged heart that you get from the Malignant season mechanic. And one thing this is going to do is it's going to breathe a little bit of life and longevity into the farming system of the game, because you're going to need to collect not only the right gear, but also the right gear that has the right color of socket for you to put the right color of caged heart in. So it's going to add a lot of RNG. You might find a really good item that has the wrong color of socket that just won't kind of fit within your build. So you'll have to save that for a different build when you need that color and continue farming for the proper color so you can use the caged heart that you want to use. So it is going to take a little bit longer to get like that full version of the build that you want for Season 1. But they are going to be having a mechanic in the game called Malignant Tunnels, and that's going to be where you can more reliably target farm some of this stuff. And they also confirmed new unique legendary items and legendary powers. And then on July 18th, all of the stuff that will be in the season is going to turn on via a live patch. So you'll actually have a couple days where all of us as a community are going to be able to dive in and try out some of these mechanics and see what is in store for Season 1 and actually play around with a little bit before it goes live on the 20th with Season 1 launch. Then they also talked about the season journey, chapters, and objectives that complete to drop favor, which is going to progress your battle pass and the new legendary aspects and items that you'll get as a reward. And then that kind of looks like this right here. Yeah, you can see where it's got chapter 1 and the different objectives and all of that. If you played Diablo 3, you're going to be familiar with the seasonal journey, and they're doing something very similar here in Diablo 4. And the cool thing is that this is not going to be pay to win. You're going to have access to this for free and be able to complete your season journey to get different rewards within the season where you can unlock some of these urns that will give you bonuses. And then the new one, this was a secret, but now we can see it, that urn of Malignance used to be blocked out and said top secret. But what this is going to do is boost your chance of acquiring those powerful Malignant hearts. So as you level up your battle pass, you'll be able to increase your chances of that as you progress. And they did also clarify that you'll be able to earn progress towards your season journey and all that during the campaign, but some of the other events like the seasonal mechanics and the Malignant heart type stuff, that is probably going to be available after the campaign. So one thing you could really do to prepare for Season 1, if you want to get the most optimal rush into that end game stuff as soon as possible, is make sure you've completed your campaign on this kind of live non-seasonal version of the game. And they did definitely make sure to note 3 different times they reinforced that there will not be pay to win within the battle pass. You won't be able to like pay to progress into getting more XP per hour or something. It's just going to be some cool cosmetics that are going to be locked behind a little bit of a paywall there within the premium versions of the battle pass. And then they did clarify a little bit on some of the Renown type stuff, and I've got a map right here. So this is going to be kind of what you can expect your seasonal Renown to look like when Season 1 starts. You'll definitely have the first 2 check marks of Renown in all of the areas, and then you'll have a little bit of progress into part 3 of your Renown if you prepare properly. What you want to do is, like I said a little bit, you want to explore the whole map and reveal all of the Fog of War on the Diablo 4 open world map. And you also want to make sure you grab all of your altars of Lilith and get some of this Renown stuff done in preparation for Season 1 so you can carry over as much as possible. And I highlighted this next part here a little bit because it says once the new patch comes out on July 18th, you should log into your main character on the new patch. And when you do, all of the progress will populate across your whole account on the new patch in preparation for Season 1. But they did also make sure to remind everybody that you are not screwed if you don't do this. It's just when you do that, that's when your progress will populate across on the new patch and get you ready for taking it with you to Season 1. Then one thing that was a little bit of a bummer was they said they understand the need for things like stash base, and it is going to be coming as soon as they can pull it off, but it's not going to happen really soon, unfortunately, and we're probably not going to have more stash base by Season 1. That's a big bummer. Was really hoping we would get a confirmation of that here in this live stream because it's one of the properly so main concerns of the community, especially if we're getting new mechanics like these caged hearts and stuff that we're going to want to be keeping a bunch of extra jewelry and a bunch of those items in our stash. We're probably going to have to be muling and developing that as a technique here if you want to keep all these caged hearts for different builds. And then I got a little bit confused by this next part, unless I'm just missing something. But they said the patch leading into Season 1 is going to be the biggest, or in their words, they called it chonky. Going to be like the chonkiest patch in terms of balance changes, bug fixes, and reward changes even coming to the game before Season 1. But then earlier, they said a patch was going to be launching today that isn't going to be as big as the last patch. So I'm guessing we're going to get a patch this afternoon, and then here in about 2 weeks, maybe on like the 17th, 18th, something like that, right before the season launches, probably the patch they're talking about on July 18th, that'll be the biggest patch yet. So yeah, now as I kind of talk through it, I think it makes sense. We're going to get a patch today, and then we're going to get another patch on the 18th, and that'll be the biggest patch yet in Diablo 4. So it's going to be really important for us to really see what goes on there, because we'll have about 2 days to play the live game and test stuff out to really get an idea of what are going to be some of the more fun and more crazy and best builds that are more sought after for Season 1. And then they were approaching the end of the stream. They had a little bit of a Q&A session here, and they did talk about respecking characters, which is kind of a nightmare right now, especially the Paragon part of it. They said there's going to be a scroll of amnesia mechanic that's going to be added to end of season reward type settings, where you can do this scroll of amnesia and it will completely refund all of your skill points, all of your Paragon, and start your character with a clean canvas to go ahead and rebuild it. So that would be a good way to address this, and it'll just depend how rare these scrolls are, how hard it is to get a hold of them. Are they only at the end of seasons and all of that? But at least they're exploring a mechanic that will enable us to respec a lot easier. But then we're going to need some sort of armory, some sort of way to like tab through different builds that we're interested in using, that so that we can play characters in a different way without having to constantly redo our Paragon board every single time. And then they had people asking about the Malignant hearts and if they're going to be permanently added to the game. And what they were saying is, as of right now, they don't have plans for these like highly in-depth game-changing mechanics to be permanent features in Diablo 4. They're going to be more specialized to that season. So after Season 1 ends, this Malignant heart mechanic with these tainted sockets, that may vanish and never be seen again, because they talked about how they don't want to change the game too crazy, too much, and keep stacking it up and making the game too dense for people to pick up. But they did say if something is received super amazing and everybody loves it and they're able to implement it, they are open to adjusting that position and taking super successful seasonal mechanics and making them part of the more permanent version of Diablo 4 heading into future seasons as well. And they said the balance and patch cadence will settle in to mostly just being hotfix type stuff while seasons are live, and then in between seasons, that's when they'll release the big patches, like the new seasonal mechanics and all of the rebalancing of the builds and adding new items and stuff like that. And then they did say that seasons will last 12 to 16 weeks, but they did not give an exact time frame of how long there will be in between seasons. It's probably going to be 2 to 4 weeks. There'll be like a PTR after the season. They will work behind the scenes during the season, preparing the next season and what the big patch is going to be and what the new mechanic introduced is going to be. So then after the seasons will be about 3 months, and then they'll take the season down. The season will end after 3 months, and then you'll probably have about a 3-week period of downtime in between seasons. They'll probably have a PTR, which is a public test realm, where you can log in and test out the seasonal mechanics. And then we'll jump into the new season after about 3 or 4 weeks of downtime. And that should be kind of the rotation of doing about 3 or 4 seasons a year. So I think that covers most of what I thought was noteworthy during the live stream here. I'm gonna definitely cover the patch that's gonna be dropping here pretty soon. It's probably gonna be dropping within 2 hours of me releasing this video, and I will definitely give you full coverage and reaction here on the channel. So my overall takeaway from this developer live stream was it was really good. I wish they wouldn't have started it off on a negative note with the Diablo 4 player base by spending 20 minutes on Diablo Immortal. But other than that, I thought it was mostly good news. The seasonal mechanic looks interesting. It looks fun. We're going to have different builds and different powers within builds and different things to farm and chase after, and it will kind of change how we build characters. So I think it'll keep people's attention a little bit longer than this pre-season type of live release of the game went. So all in all, I come away from this feeling positive and excited for season 1, especially knowing that on July 18th, we're going to get a huge patch. According to them, that's their words, the biggest patch we've ever gotten yet, with lots of balance changes, and then finally being able to test some of this seasonal stuff being added to the game. So that kind of gets you caught up on the summary here of the developer live stream from today, and it would mean a lot to earn your subscription down below. But as always, I appreciate you, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Stay tuned for the coverage of the patch when that drops. I will give you full reaction to that very soon here. Thanks. Peace.